Hello everyone, Matt from Model Minutes here, and welcome back to the workbench for another unboxing. This week it is the YAK-15 from PM Model in 1/72 scale. So join me as I find out what this kit is like. So starting off on the front of the box, you can see we've got a rather glossy finish with this attractive artwork displaying the yak. And we've got an item code up here, which is PM 102. Flipping over to the back, we've got the same artwork. And you can see down here, it tells us that it's 1/72 scale. Up here, we've got one Russian star, which means that there is one paint scheme, or at least as a minimum, that's the country for which this paint scheme will refer. On the edges of the box then, we've got some other kits in the range. We've got some very interesting subjects here. In my opinion, I think PM Model do make some of the more interesting models. And then flipping over to the other edge, we can see that it's made in Turkey. We've got a warning here for users to be over the age of 14, and it's imported by Bachmann. The short edges don't feature any new information other than a price tag. I paid £5.50 for this one. So let's get inside the box and see what we have got. And everything comes contained within a plastic bag. So let's get this bag open and let's start off by looking at the paperwork. So first up, we get a rather nice print of the artwork from the box. I quite like that they include these. It would be quite nice to put these into a sort of collage or on your wall. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but yeah, it's not a bad inclusion. Then we've got our instructions, which are printed, it looks like they're in colour for the most part. Oh yes, they're in colour. We love colour instructions. And the paper feels ever so slightly glossy. It's a little bit thicker than the paper I had, I think it was in the PMC Fury. Anyway, so starting off on the front then, we've got some information about the actual YAK-15. In essence, it was a prop fighter plane which had a jet engine stuck onto it instead, and it says here that it was used as an intermediate step between the YAK-17 and 15 for pilots transitioning from prop planes. We'll look at the paint schemes in a minute. So flipping over to the other side, you can see that we have 3 steps. Each step seems a little bit busy. The first step up here is a little bit out of focus on the page. The second step down here and the third step are not too bad at all. So it says down here that we've got the option of displaying the model with the landing gear raised or the landing gear lowered. However, it doesn't indicate that in the steps. I would imagine all you have to do is glue the landing gear cover in place. But there aren't that many parts, so there aren't any bespoke raised landing gear parts by the looks of it. So starting off at the top, we have a very crude cockpit inside. We have the air intake and the air exhaust. We join the fuselage together. Then we add our cannons on the nose, the wings, the tail surfaces, the canopy, and the aerial mast. And then we add our landing gear, and that's it. It's not a very complicated kit by the looks of it. Turning over then, let's look at our paint scheme. So we've got a red one, a grey one, and a green and sky blue one. All of which are from the same sort of time period, 1947, 1946 and 1947. And these look like they're training units, and this is a flight group of a general, so more of a parade aircraft perhaps. And then down here we've got our colour callouts, so black and red, grey, green and blue. And we've got Humbrol, Tamiya and Model Master colour callouts as well. And then you can see that we've got the different transfers numbered for when we need to locate them, and there aren't that many. It looks like it's stars on the upper wing, stars on the lower wing, stars on the fuselage side, and a serial number, and that's it. So not a complicated build by the looks of it. So yeah, instructions are not too bad, and I love that they're printed in colour. That is such a great addition. Transfers then. So transfers from PM Model, having experienced a few of their kits in the past, I know they're not necessarily going to be the best. The printing looks to be okay. I mean, you've got Russian stars and serial numbers, so they look all right. I do worry that they might disintegrate when I come to add them to the model, so I might have to put some decal solution film, some micro scale liquid decal film on top of that, just to make sure that they don't come apart. But yeah, they don't look too bad. Naturally though, they're not up to the standard of transfers from other kit manufacturers. Now we can move on to our plastic parts. So inside our bag we get 1, 2 sort of frames, and then in a little sort of Ziploc bag we have our cockpit canopy. So let's look at the cockpit canopy first. And it generally looks okay. There is a little bit of, actually that's just been removed, a bit of dirt there. Crystal clear, from what I can see, a tiny bit of flash, but as I'm sure you can observe, the canopy lines on there are effectively non-existent. There is a slight hint of a canopy frame across the top and maybe just down the side here, but other than that, not amazing. So if you're going to freehand paint this one, you will need a very steady hand. Otherwise, it might be worth masking this with some masking tape just to try and replicate the canopy frames. But generally, the clearness and the lack of scratches is quite good to see. Moving on to our plastic parts then, these are molded and grey plastic. They feel ever so slightly greasy, possibly some mold release left over from the molding process. The plastic is fairly dense, but it does have a bit of flex in it. And looking at the detail, well, I'm sure you can see that the detail is effectively non-existent. The very shallow raised panel lines and some recessed detail there, but effectively this is a smooth shell with nothing really to speak of. There is a bit of flash you can see on the inside there of the engine exhaust. Generally not too bad. I did notice earlier there's a sink mark over here. A bit closer on that one. Sink mark there, just on the underside of the engine, and there's another one there as well. So possibly I might need a little bit of filler if you're too fussed about that. A little bit of flash in places to clean up, and flipping over you can see on the inside that there is no cockpit detail. The ejector pin marks on the inside here, these ones on the nose area, are quite dirty looking, so not the best care has been taken with these plastic parts. And then the last frame of parts we've got, oh, these are quite dirty. Yeah, so you can see on this one up here on the wing, there is some dirt on there. That's how it is out of the bag. That's got some dirt on it as well. So they're not the best quality. Bit of flash. Again, the detail is consistent with the other parts in the sense that it's effectively non-existent. What detail there is relatively crude. The most detailed part is the cockpit seat there for the pilot. No pilot is included, however, so if you wanted to display this one flying, you'd have to add a pilot from the spares box. So yeah, a little bit disappointing on the quality of the moulding. Quite a bit of flash in places, a bit dirty. We've got some sink marks. So yeah, not a very long video this one because it's not a very big kit. So let's recap. We had 1, 2 grey frames of parts and 1 clear part, which, you know, is molded okay, but the detail is lacking. There is sink marks, there is dirt, and the amount of flash as well is going to require a little bit of cleanup when you come to build this model. We had a set of decals, very simple, not much to them, but again, because they're not the best quality transfers in the world, I do worry that there will be issues when I come to attach them to the model. However, the printing is generally not too bad, so they are something that I would consider using. Instructions are definitely improvement from previous PM model kits that I've seen in the past. Love that they've printed them in colour. That's an absolute improvement in my book. I guess it remains to be seen if any future models that I buy from the PM model range will have colour instructions as well. A little sort of postcard type piece of paper with the artwork on, all of which comes contained within the yellow glossy box. So let's talk a little bit about the history of this kit. And I'm sure given the quality of the plastic parts, it's no surprise that this is not a recently tooled model. This was actually a Pioneer 2 tooling from 1988. It has, however, been in a number of different ranges since then, but it has been in the PM model range for quite a while, with this particular version first seeing its entry into the range in 2019. So it's a bit of a shame that PM model haven't done anything to sort of update the tooling or, increase those details that are inside the plastic parts. But then again, I think that's reflected in the price. Having only paid £5.50 for this kit, as can be seen on the price label on the box, I think you'd probably agree that this is a pocket money cheap kind of kit. It's not meant as a serious model kit. Having a quick look online, it seems that this is sort of about the price that most people are selling it for. However, I have seen sellers selling it for a little bit more, £7 or £8. If it's pushing that sort of price range, I would not be recommending it to you. But for a fun little build that's a pocket money sort of kit, this is probably absolutely perfect for you. So I think it's time to wrap this one up here. This Yak-15 in 1/72nd scale, whilst the artwork on the box and the sort of better quality instructions tend to sort of lead you to thinking that this is a higher quality kit, unfortunately the plastic parts betray that, and it indicates that it is an old tooling which PM model have jazzed up a little bit inside the box. Fortunately though, it comes at a price which means it won't exactly break the bank if you decide to buy one. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of my unboxing and if my assessment was fair of this fairly old kit in a new box. As always, quick shout out to my patrons and channel members for the extra support they give the channel. If you'd like to find out how to join these guys on screen, take a look at the links in the description. If you're new here and you'd like to see more modelling content like this, make sure you subscribe with notifications on so that you never miss a modelling upload. And if you enjoyed this video, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. Finally, the last thing to say is a massive thank you to you for watching this one, and I'll see you on the workbench again next time.